Have you ever felt ensnared in an unending cycle of thoughts, replaying past mistakes or fretting about a future that remains uncertain? Overthinking bears a striking resemblance to a chaotic web. It immobilizes you, leaving you restless and emotionally drained. However, what if you could liberate yourself from this trap? The Buddha wisely stated, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." This profound insight illuminates the significance of our thought patterns. If we allow our minds to be clouded by relentless anxieties, our lived experience transforms into a landscape filled with stress and uncertainty. In contrast, nurturing clarity and tranquility within our minds can shape a life defined by equilibrium, wisdom, and insight. In this discourse, we will explore the Buddha's teachings on overthinking and learn how to free ourselves from its clutches to achieve profound mental clarity. Overthinking is often mistaken for productive problem solving. We tend to believe that through extensive analysis of a situation, we can uncover the perfect solution. However, the stark reality is that the more we ruminate, the more we complicate our circumstances. Have you ever found yourself replaying a conversation in your mind, fabricating imaginary dialogues about what you should have said, what the other person might have implied, and speculating on possible future outcomes? Rather than providing clarity, overthinking generates a never-ending loop of doubt, anxiety, and stress. In this context, the Buddha likened the mind to a turbulent ocean. When the waves are high, clarity is obscured. Conversely, when the waters are calm, everything becomes apparent. A mind ensnared in overthinking lacks the clarity to discern reality. It conjures problems that may not even exist, rendering life far more challenging than necessary. At the heart of overthinking are two fundamental elements, fear and desire. We harbor fears of making incorrect choices, prompting us to scrutinize every potential outcome. We yearn for certainty, which often leads us to relive past experiences in hopes of altering what has already transpired. The Buddha profoundly taught that attachment is the root of suffering. Our attachment to thoughts, the incessant need for control, and the relentless pursuit of perfect outcomes bind us in cycles of dissatisfaction. Consider the analogy of gripping a rope attached to a heavy stone. The more one pulls, the heavier it becomes. However, if one simply chooses to release it, the weight dissipates. Overthinking operates in much the same way. We feel burdened by our thoughts because we cling to them too tightly. When we learn to relax our grip, we create the space for peace and tranquility to enter. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that our thoughts shape our experiences. Without mindful awareness, the mind can devolve into a source of suffering. He eloquently remarked, "Just as rain penetrates an ill-thought-out house, so does lust infiltrate an underdeveloped mind." Just as rain does not penetrate a well-thought-out house, lust does not permeate a well-developed mind. In this light, an untrained mind remains susceptible to relentless worries, while a mind cultivated through mindfulness retains its composure and clarity. To cease the cycle of overthinking, we must learn to observe our thoughts without becoming ensnared by them. One practical method for achieving this is to practice focused breathing. The next time you find yourself caught in a web of ruminative thoughts, take a deep breath. Instead of getting swept away by the onslaught of thoughts, acknowledge their presence. Remind yourself, this is merely a thought, I do not need to follow this train of thought. In doing so, you create a psychological distance between yourself and your mental processes, effectively breaking free from the cycle of overthinking. Recognizing that overthinking is not merely a habit but rather a pattern that can be dismantled is crucial. The Buddha emphasized that clarity emerges from disciplined awareness. To this end, let us examine three potent methods to halt overthinking and regain mastery over our minds. 1. Label your thoughts. Instead of becoming enmeshed in swirling thoughts, when you notice your mind racing, take a moment to step back and observe. Rather than labeling the experience as "I'm failing" or "I will never succeed," reframe it as "I am having a thought about failure." This subtle adjustment helps create a distinction between your identity and your thoughts, rendering them less influential over your emotional state. 2. Focus on what you can control. much of our propensity to overthink arises from concerns regarding matters beyond our control. The Buddha astutely asked, "Why worry about something you can change? If you cannot change it, why worry at all?" Redirecting our attention to actionable steps yields tangible benefits. If an issue lies within our realm of influence, take small, concrete actions toward addressing it. Conversely, if it lies beyond our control, practice letting it go. 3. Train your mind to remain present. Perhaps the most straightforward yet powerful method to escape the clutches of overthinking is to anchor your awareness in the present moment. Engage in a grounding exercise. Take a deep breath, feeling the sensation of air entering and exiting your body, and tune into your surroundings. Notice the sounds, sensations, and colors around you. This moment is real, the past is gone, and the future is yet to unfold. The more diligently you practice presenteeism, the less control overthinking will exert over your mental landscape. The Buddha's teachings elucidate that suffering arises from attachment to desires, outcomes, and even fleeting thoughts. However, thoughts are akin to flowing water. If you do not cling to them, they will naturally pass. Envision this: holding onto a hot coal. The tighter you grasp it, the more acutely it burns. Conversely, if you release your hold, the pain dissipates. Overthinking mirrors the act of clinging to that burning coal. It only serves to harm you. When thoughts surface, do not resist them, observe and allow them to drift away. Remind yourself of their impermanence and that you do not need to cling to them. This simple yet profound shift in mindset fosters immense liberation. The mind is a formidable tool, however, it can only be harnessed effectively if wielded with wisdom. Overthinking clouds our perception, yet when we learn to let go of our grip on these transitory thoughts, we gain access to clarity, peace, and authentic freedom. The teachings of the Buddha remind us that true happiness is not found in excessive contemplation, rather, it resides in presence, simplicity, and the art of letting go. In summary, if you find yourself grappling with overthinking, remember that your thoughts do not define you. Allow them to flow in and out like the gentle breeze rustling through the trees. True peace emerges not from imposing control over your mind but from embracing the simple practice of letting it be. If you have found value in this exploration of overthinking and its resolution, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Together, let us navigate the enriching path of wisdom and clarity, fostering inner peace and mental well-being.